Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, sometimes I watch them. This is a bonus episode of Cameron Reads Comics, where my friend Jesse and I are going over Marvel's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 4. Just a heads up, there's going to be complete spoilers for Episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you have any questions, make sure you submit them to us by Sunday night, and we'll make sure to answer them on the air. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, as well as clobber that like button and leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Now, let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 4. Hello, Jesse. Welcome back to Cameron Reads Comics. We're in week 4 of Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, we are.
How are you feeling about it?
Man, I'm feeling some type of way. That was like a pretty heavy episode,
That was okay. I don't know. Was it just me, or was the pacing in like this last episode more? I found it more entertaining than the one in. Was it faster? Or was it slower? I just don't know.
It was slower.
It was slower, okay, but still, like, they crammed, like, it was slower, but they still crammed so much into one episode.
This is not disappointing at all, and you are correct. They crammed a lot in there.
It wasn't disappointing.
No, I mean the series as a whole. It's just like they haven't. I felt like there was in WandaVision, there was some episodes that were like, okay, that was like, that was okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where this one's just like they haven't missed the mark. At all.
I don't think so either. Yeah, it's been insane, and like,
where do we start with this one? Do you have any questions ready for me? Because like, wow, it was a really, people died and shit.
Multiple deaths happened. Okay, so do you think the super soldier serum only has the power to corrupt? Because they were saying, I think that one of the footnotes and one of the main conversations I like kind of paid attention to was Lamar and John when they were talking about the power only makes you more of who you are. And so you saw that with Steve Rogers. We now saw that with Bucky. We've seen that with
Carly.
And like there's more people who've taken this serum.
Okay, well that reminded me of the original Captain America movie when they're debating on who they give it to, right? Yeah. And it says it makes good better and bad worse. Yeah. That was like the scientist guy said that, right? It reminded me of that. But what I really realized from that scene when they were sitting there talking to each other, and I don't think that they've done a good enough job up until this episode. The reason that John Walker is so messed up is he's got PTSD.
Yeah, I feel like they finally kind of addressed it in this episode.
Right. And they should have maybe got there a little bit earlier, because you can, you're still not sympathizing with him because he's still a dickhead.
True.
But you can understand a little bit more where his anger stems from and why he has trouble controlling it and doing certain things. It's because he's got PTSD.
And it's funny too because Lamar and him talk about, I guess, how he feels so validated towards the serum because of what he went through and what he did in Afghanistan.
Right.
And he's like, I don't think I should be validated for this. I don't feel right after what I did, even though they are saying I deserve 3 medals of honor, la, la, la. Now I'm Captain America. Mm-hmm. And so he hasn't processed that. And so I think that factor playing into him getting the super soldier serum is like really interesting.
And that was the whole reason that he took it, was based on that discussion. Like he was like, I don't know, in his head you could tell, I don't know if I should take it. Asked Lamar whether he would take it. And he's like, hells yeah, take it.
Yeah.
It makes a person just more of who they are. But I think the kicker in that conversation was we wouldn't have lost all our men, or the situation would have turned out different if we had the super soldier serum, which I think was the end thing. He was like, screw it, I'm going to take it then.
Yeah, and especially too. Yeah, okay, well, how'd you feel about the build-up to him taking it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think we kind of really got a glimpse, and so we've seen him, who he is displayed before, you know what I mean? Who the public wants him to be, then, some of the like shady stuff he already did. Now we kind of really got to see John for who he is. And so in this episode, like, there's some dishonesty there. There was some, a lot more brokenness in this one.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the buildup of him eventually taking the super soldier serum?
They did it really well, especially the fight scene with the... Help me.
Carly,
the
Flag
Wakandans.
Smashers? It's the Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
Dora Milaje? Dora Milaje.
Well, because
awesome.
It's they call it both in this episode, and I was like, okay, one thing, it's like Sam calls it the Dora Milaje, and then they call themselves the Dora Milaje.
Well, whatever they call themselves is the correct way.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Dora Milaje. We can go back to that fight scene because it was glorious. But the buildup was there with him, and then he ends up losing to them.
Yeah.
And he is almost like pouting. He's like,
oh, yeah.
They're not even super soldiers, and they kick the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And her doing the shield flip with her foot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God.
It was so good. And like that's what I liked. This episode of Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, you almost slipped up. You almost called it Game of Thrones.
I almost called it Cameron Reads Comics. Which it is, but it's not Game of Thrones. On today's episode, this is dedicated to Lamar Hoskins, aka Battlestar.
R.I.P., dude. Holy crap.
That guy got whomped twice.
Poor guy. He wasn't like he was almost like the guy that kept John Walker kind of in check. He was like his voice of reason, and he just got flag smashed.
Literally.
But Carly just nailed him. But she immediately was like remorseful. She was like, "Oh shit!" She didn't mean to kill him.
And that's something that we see, and that's actually I think one of my favorite kind of arcs within understanding your powers, or like getting newfound abilities, and then kind of figuring out like your power set with them. I think we got to see the remorse, and I just always think that is such an important beat because Captain America. A character like Captain America, a character like Superman is never going to have that because they're supposed to be like really intentional and supposed to be very good and in control of their powers. But like Carly now taking on this thing that she doesn't understand and she can't, I don't think she respects the power that has been given to her through the super soldier serum. And then because of that lack of respect and I guess, intention, thoughtfulness, whatever it be, it's one thing when she's killing people and the building blowing up.
Sure.
Because she's not seeing their faces. You saw the light go out of his eyes. And that changes a person. And so, again, like we were talking, she's just going more and more down the road of she's never going to be the teacher. You know what I mean?
No way. I mean, she's still not, you can still, the conversation between her and Sam, it's all justifiable. But that scene, her smashing Battlestar and that whole fight scene between them, Bucky and Sam were so much more ready for that fight than they were the truck fight.
Yeah.
And it just showed that the Flag Smashers they're like you said, they're still learning. They were outgunned. Like Bucky and Sam were ready for that fight, and they clearly were like, you guys might be super soldiers, but we are Avengers.
Think about it this like one of the most...
maybe Bucky's not an Avenger. Sam's an Avenger.
No, Bucky's an Avenger.
Okay.
He's on the team. Whatever. He was in Endgame. They're all Avengers now.
Is that what
in
makes
my
you
head.
an Avenger?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if you're fighting alongside them, I'm like, nah, you're an Avenger.
Okay.
But what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, I just lost it. That's how many days going.
Fight, Battlestar getting killed.
Yeah, no, I just
them being prepared for the fight.
Them being prepared for the fight. I think this is one of the best moments for Sam I've seen, and it was just a quick one, but it's like when Carly, so Bucky tries to jump off the ledge, and then Carly freaking like shoulders him like midair, which was so sick, and then they start fighting. Sam is able, like without, I honestly on a scale of what they've shown is he's kind of like, John Walker's a better fighter than him, Bucky's a better fighter than him, like Battlestar. Maybe him and Sam are on the same level. He's not the best fighter, but he was able to like disarm Carly fairly quickly with like 2 moves. And I was like, that's what I wanted to see from Sam, because I'm like, it's no fun watching him just not be the most powerful guy, because we have seen that from him the entire time. And so he's still not the most powerful, but he's like I qualified, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows. I like that they were better in that battle than John and Lamar.
And being qualified, his conversation with Carly when he's basically able to almost talk her down.
Yeah.
That's such a Captain America way to do it.
Yeah.
Like that just showed right there the way that Sam is going to do things. I'm going to go and talk to her and diffuse this situation and see where she's coming from. To me, that was just like, we all know that Sam should be Captain America, but that was such a Cap moment right there.
It also, there's growth within you. I think episode 2, we didn't want it to be the whole like buddy cop thing the whole time and like them not taking one another seriously. There's a great moment with Bucky that shows some growth too, that when John's like, I don't want to wait for this anymore. We just need to go in there. It's been 10 minutes. And Bucky's like, like Sam's very qualified to do this. So, like, let him have his time. And then John Walker ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, it hasn't been 10 minutes yet.
Yeah, but then
John's just like got super anxiety. The guy is just too much.
Yeah, and so it just showed like their relational growth too, like the trust that they have in one another, which is so cool.
But I think it was this episode, and I'm starting to get him confused. Bucky does say, he's not my partner. He's like, oh, you're not going to go help your partner? He's like, he's not my partner, bro. Yeah. Whether that was like a diss or not, like, hey, we don't need like partner. It does, it's not like a partnership. I don't know, whatever.
Wait, was he talking about Bucky or
Bucky was talking about Sam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about someone else. Yeah, no. So how do you feel about the PTSD part playing in? How do you feel about like with because there's two sides now, and I think what you just said is very intentional along those lines too. We have the PTSD with John actively experiencing it, but then Sam being qualified and I guess level-headed to confront that within Carly. How do you feel about kind of like those two dynamics at play?
I mean, Sam was doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see. That's what you'd like to see from John Walker if he's going to be Captain America, that he has the PTSD. I like that they explained that this episode because it makes you understand him a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Where before he was just kind of an angry dickhead who maybe, like you were saying before, was just on a power trip. He's still on a power trip. He's still trying to fit into the shoes, the boots of Captain America, which he clearly is not. But now you can understand kind of why he's so anxious and aggro and fucked up is because, he's been through some shit. Which, man, I mean, I don't know if they're intentionally doing it, playing it out this far, but you could have done a cutscene with him in Afghanistan and shown a little bit of that. Not that I need to sympathize with him, but if he's going to be Captain America, I don't want to, just don't vilify him, which, holy crap, did they vilify him?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. What does the word vilify mean? Like he's a villain now?
Dude, I mean, he straight up, it wasn't like he killed that guy.
Oh, he freaking executed that guy.
He executed him.
It was in the town square. Like
everyone was watching. Everyone was afraid of him. They're all filming on their phones, and like he was smashing him with the shield. Like, holy God.
Yeah. It was crazy, man.
It was crazy. And again, I understand he was angry because Lamar had just died and he wanted that revenge, but holy shit. And in that scene, it was his most Captain America moment ever was when he window smashed through into the car.
Yeah.
That's the most Steve Rogers thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
But then right after, he did the most un-Steve Rogers thing that you could ever do, which is kill somebody with your shield. He didn't even beat him into a pulp, dude.
Yeah, man. It was because you think that the shield would be able to break through in one. He did like 2 or 3.
And the guy was like begging. He's like, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was Carly, right? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I just thought that was so fascinating. That turn was crazy, man. Going back to what you said earlier about the like spending time with John and spending time with Carly. One of the things I realized that I want to see that they keep harping on, but we literally haven't seen it, is the Carly's whole motivation is like being dislocated and like life was better before the blip for her and a lot of other people because they had a place to live, and then there's overcrowding now, or kind of what Thanos was trying to prevent, but not in a, I don't know, not in the exact way, So she's fighting for how life was before, and I get why she's fighting, but like I still have not seen it. You know what I mean? I've not seen the overcrowding, and I think that we're gonna get a lens into that because they keep alluding to the Global Repatriation Council, and I think that I think that's going to be where we see that. What are your thoughts on that idea? Because we've only seen like a WandaVision-esque commercial of it in the beginning of the last episode. And
yeah, no, that's a great question, and I hadn't thought too much about it at all. I mean, they've shown it. They've shown that advert and then the poster, right?
Yeah.
As they're when Sam's going into like that school. Yeah. Is that what that is? Like that when he went. Oh, there's a bug on my hand. Hold on. When he went into that building looking for the lady that had died.
Yeah.
Was that part of that?
I thought that was
there was a school and there was people and they were all hiding from him.
Okay, so I think the GPA was actually one of the buildings that she blew up. Like when she blew up the building and tied up all the guards. And
okay.
That was a GPA building.
Okay, so they were
GPC.
Just whatever it is. So the building he went into was basically just the refugee
I think
camp.
Right? Or one of the places where the refugees are, and that's where John Walker broke into too in the beginning of the last episode, where he comes in and murks some people. I think that was a refugee camp, and so it's interesting to see. I'm really impressed by the way that they are handling the post blip lifestyle. I really like that they are so like. It's easy to just be like, okay, that happened. Now we're all back and like brush that under the rug. I love that this series is dealing with the ramifications of that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I like that too. Like they didn't just, okay, we're on to the next phase of what we're going to do here and not deal with the repercussions of that at all. And it's funny though, because I would have never thought about the repercussions of that. I would have been okay. I would have been totally okay if they just did brush it and we got the nenext set of stories. I wouldn't have been like, well, what happened to that half of humanity that got blipped away? I would have just been like, whatever.
Yeah,
let's go.
We're still dealing, because in this episode or in this series alone, we've seen financial ramifications. We've seen infrastructure ramifications. Like there's so many factors they have so thoughtfully kept in mind as we are moving forward in the universe. And so I just love that we now have this point that's a flagship, because we did spend some time with post Sokovia world, and that was kind of what Civil War was, and that's who Zemo is. But
and Zemo's still talking about that.
Yeah, and he's like, you guys never saw the tribute or the monument that was there for it. Like, oh yeah, you've never been, have you? And he was a little snarky about that. But but it's like the amount of time they're spending on the blip as opposed to Sokovia, I appreciate.
Yeah, and that's how Sam was able to connect with Carly as well, because he was talking about his sister and not being able to get the loan, and even though he's an Avenger, not being treated any type of way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was I really loved the connection that he was trying to make with her until John came in and fucked it all up. But also, how did you feel about Zemo comparing the Avengers to Nazis?
When did he do that? Because I think I remember hearing it, but not.
It was very quick, and he compared the Avengers to Nazis, and then Sam said, hey, those are, and I was like, dang. And then Sam's like, hey, those are our friends. And then Bucky said, the Avengers, not the Nazis. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, they didn't let it linger. It kept moving on past the episode kept moving right along. But I was like, dude, he just called the Avengers Nazis. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yes. Not saying yes that they are Nazis, but I think from a lot, one of my favorite writers, Jeff Loeb, who actually who wrote the comic we're releasing tomorrow. So Catwoman Went in Rome. Anyways, there's a plug for tomorrow's episode.
Bam.
But the Jeff Loeb, he always talks about that the villain's quest is always the more morally, a good villain has a more morally just quest. If you look at them logically, critically thinking, and what they're trying to do, what Thanos did made sense. He was right. Magneto is right. Mutants are superior, and that's what makes them good villains.
Right.
And so
I agree 100%.
And so I think from Zemo's perspective, the Avengers, who are kind of either trying to fight for, short, minimal, progress, but also they mostly fight to maintain the status quo. And so that's why it's, from his perspective, I think he sees them that way.
Well, yeah, and from his perspective, they genocided his whole country, basically, right? Is that the correct word? Genocide? Anyways.
Even though literally they didn't, they tried to save it.
They tried to save it. But it's funny coming from him because, I guess he's not Hydra. Is he? He's a Hydra worshiper.
I'd say, yeah, he's like a
and
zealot.
Bucky like working for Hydra. Those are the Nazis. Like,
Yeah.
you Nazi calling a Nazi? Like,
But,
come on,
you know,
man.
As I like go in my brain down that rabbit hole, like the Avengers did create Ultron, and Ultron is the one responsible.
So that was the conversation that he was talking about Ultron,
mm-hmm.
and then he threw out the Nazi thing, and yeah.
I think it also, this idea ties into what Carly was saying with the bygone era, and that flag represents something that isn't true anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and whether or not I agree with her, do you think that they're justified in their thinking? Because
The Flag Smashers?
yeah, because kind of what she was talking to Sam about, like it resonated, I don't know, for me, like really well.
Yes. And again, and I've been saying this for the last couple episodes, they are doing a very good job of making you see why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not disagreeable. She's far more, willing to do messed up stuff to get,
Yeah.
to her end game, where a couple of her, partners are, you can tell that they don't want to do some of the things that she's doing, like killing that whole building full of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they're doing a great job of, not really sympathizing, but you can clearly see why she's doing it.
Yeah, I think that we see mostly with this one, or like with these villains, and when I think about it, is like the Avengers. Was it?
I don't think I'd even call them villains really in this.
Exactly, they're not. They're radicals.
Yes,
I'd say.
bingo, perfect. They
more,
are definitely radicals.
It's like when I'm trying to piece the thought together, but it's like the Avengers and them are fighting for the same outcome. Eventually, not quite the way Thanos did it, but like they want to make the world work in a way where everyone can thrive and prosper.
Mm-hmm.
He was fighting for that, and the Avengers were too. How they get there and the size of the leaps that they're willing to take is what makes them different. And that means it's literally for.
I think that's what Sam was trying to get across to her as well, right? We're doing. We have the same mission, but you're just doing it the wrong way, and let me help you do it the right way. And I also thought at that same time, so if Sam helps her do it the right way, he still has to like arrest her, right? It's not just like, let's go. You're still under arrest. You killed 40 people in a building.
Oh my gosh, R.I.P. to Lamar Hoskins. Anyway, this episode is dedicated.
And Lamar, dude.
This episode is dedicated to Lamar Hoskins.
And it was so, as brutal as Cap murdering that guy was with his shield, which it was so brutal. The quickness and just the like surprise smash that Carly does to Lamar, you're like, oh, he's dead.
And like
slams into that pillar, and you're like, oh,
yeah, you
man.
saw his head like crack there. I was
yeah.
like, and okay, I got a couple more questions. Number one, we actually did get a question from a fan this week,
I
and
love
so that fan is Hannah. So
that's great.
It's Hannah, and so let me just read you the text she sent. Okay, so just like that's totally Hannah already.
Oh yeah, I can hear it in my head.
4 words in, I don't even have the question yet. Anyways, if you want to talk on the pod about this, if you even know, Carly and the Flag Smashers want to kill off people again to make the world back to less people. Not quite. Anyways, is that the goal of the Flag Smashers? Because why else would you be making an army? And also, do they address why those specific were displaced after the blip? Like how they decided who became refugees once everyone was back. I think you and I talked about that just now. Is number one, we want to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I want to see more of like why they were displaced for sure.
Why and how? Like, what did the displacement look like too?
Right. I definitely don't think that she's building an army to kill people, though.
No, she's not. They're radicals trying to, I think if we're trying to go for their goal, they're radicals trying to put these displaced peoples back, either back in a home or somewhere, because, these people that did have homes and stuff during the blip, probably the way I see it, and they haven't got into the infrastructure stuff yet, the way I see it is if you lived somewhere or whatever before the blip, then they like, that is back to being your property, no matter what. If someone had moved in within the 5 years, I think that's kind of what happened. And then those people were. It's think of it on like a gentrification kind of level.
Yeah. So I own a house, right?
Yeah.
I get blipped away. I'm gone. So what do you do? The person's gone, right? So then somebody sells the house, moves into the house, whatever. But then I come back.
Yeah.
And that property is mine.
Yeah.
Or do I get displaced because I was blipped away?
let's say.
Does that make more sense, actually, maybe? Like, when you came back, somebody's already moved into your place. Too bad, you're shit out of luck. And now that's why you're displaced? Is because you don't have anywhere to go? That might actually make more sense, right?
That might make more sense, and I don't know. So.
Rather than like, oh, I'm back, give me my house back, now you've got to go move into the street. It's almost like, well, you were gone, sorry.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right because that ties into what Sam's issue is too.
Yeah, and then it's like, what now? I don't know. I'm in a different world. It's been 5 years. I don't know what's going on. I have nowhere to live.
It was 5 years for them. It wasn't 5 years for you. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't 5 years. You just came back, and you're like, what's going on?
Like, let's say like 30 minutes. You know.
Talk about PTSD.
Oh. And so their goal isn't to try and murder everyone. It's trying to just really, I think, seek refuge and find
an answer
for
what they're going to do with all these people.
It's giving these people a home.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at any cost. And if that's at the expense of other people, that's where obviously we are running into our conflict.
And that's the speech I believe that she's getting at Mama Dumama's funeral, whatever that name was.
Yeah.
She's like saying we're all different people. Like we're all from a different, backgrounds and everything, but we're the same as we have nowhere to go. And Mama whatever was helping us out. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. She was a mother to all of them. Yeah. While they don't have moms or whatever, they don't have homes. They are still family in that way. So I think did that answer the question? You feel?
I don't know. If it didn't, Hannah can ask us a follow-up question. Yeah, I do not think that they're building an army, to murder people.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that they want to Thanos half of the world out of here. Like,
they're building an army so that they can fight the powers that be that are keeping it. So that they can fight like the global repatriation council, so that they can go up against them. So that like they're building an army so that they have the means to be able to seize and take the food and water that they are hoarding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the supplies. So that it's very Robin Hood-esque.
Yeah, she feels like she can do a better job distributing that stuff than they are.
And to her credit, she's is.
Right.
Yeah, she is doing a better job because she cares more than they do. She has zero patience for the bureaucracy and the time it takes. You know what I mean? The paperwork to fill out. It's like these people are in need. Let's fulfill the need, and I'll kill you if you get in my way. It's very much how we see, at least from the trailers, Captain America. Not obviously we've seen him more than trailers, but then Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much Captain America and Peacemaker are kind of fighting for the same thing. They're fighting for peace.
Who's Peacemaker?
In Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah,
John
sorry.
Cena.
Yeah.
It's very much like they're going after the same thing.
Yeah.
He will.
Speaking
kill
of crossing streams, Cameron, let's come on. Can we keep it on track here? Peacemaker, we're in a whole different universe.
Okay, well, I really just tried to tie it in.
No, I feel it. You're excited about that, and so am I.
Anyways,
I got two questions for you.
Oh, wow.
One, do you think Sharon's the power broker?
Yes, now more than ever.
I mean, she got satellites from like, where the hell she got these satellites from, man? She's just like, hey, check it out, got satellites.
Yeah, I have no idea how she knew where they were when they were, but they did call her, and it's like, okay, but even so, I'm like, you're the power broker. Right,
she is the power broker. Okay, that's out of the way. We could be wrong. Maybe they'll surprise. It's Ant-Man.
I'll gladly be wrong, and I still, even if she is the power broker, I don't think she's a bad person.
And then the second thing, how did you feel, or I don't even know if you thought about this, about the Wakandans still not trusting Bucky? Because she was able to pull his arm off with two little button pushes, which means, I mean, it was a failsafe. It's a way to disarm Bucky in case they needed to, because they gave him that vibranium arm.
How do I feel about it? I like it. And I guess this could open up to another little combo, but I like that.
Yeah. It's just in case.
Do you think him and Io, the main guard, do you think they were romantically involved? I feel there's a little bit of chemistry there.
They have great on-screen chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say no, just because in the comic books she has a girlfriend, and I don't think that they would change that for the sake of
her.
I think her, being the way that she is in the book would be much more progressive.
Yeah,
I don't know why you would change that.
Yeah,
but they have great on-screen chemistry, man.
Yeah.
And
well, they have a relationship like platonic.
And I love that flashback too of them sitting at the fire and Bucky crying. Like she's like, you got it, and he's like fighting so hard, and she's saying the command words, and like, oh god, it was great.
And he's scared of himself.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's good.
But that scene with them where they're like the Dom, or what are they called again?
Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje. He's like, and one more question. he says, you don't have jurisdiction here. And she says the Dora Milaje has jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje is at. What gives Captain America, John Walker, jurisdiction there? They're in like Latvia or some shit.
He was sent by his government to
so
do that.
What? Like,
I don't know.
you know, like
that's
right?
a good enough reason for him. You know what I mean? And that's his opinion. You know what I mean?
It's just funny because he's like probably in his mind like, well, the America is like the strongest government in the world. We can do whatever we want. And she's probably like, we're Wakandans. Yeah. You don't understand. We're the most powerful country in the world.
My question is, how did you? And then with that fight, the number one thing I thought, they were ready to murk some. They were trying to kill John and Lamar.
Oh yeah.
There's multiple times where they were trying to like straight up stab them with vibranium spears. Are you okay? How'd you feel about that? I don't think I was not down, and that's when I'm so glad that Bucky and Sam intervened.
I was down with it. They were like, we're here to take Zemo back and get out of our way. And that guy was like, you know, John Walker was like, no.
He's like a smug asshole.
And they were like, all right, we'll show you, buddy. And they kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah, but I'm like...
She stuck that spear through his shield through the table, and he couldn't pull the spear. I loved it. Oh, yeah. He couldn't pull that spear out, and he's like trying his best to pull the spear out, and she walks over and just yanks it out of the spear or the shield. I mean, maybe I was okay with it because I don't like John Walker. So I was like, yeah, get him.
I'm like, I just don't think, I'm like, they went aggro. I'm like, they don't need to die over this. I'm like, I just thought that was a little extreme. Even, you know, for the Dora Milaje. So,
but I don't think that's too far out of character for them. I mean, I
don't disagree.
Right. They're the Wakandans, like, hit squad, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the King's Guard. That's the way I think about them. It's the Secret Service, and I'm like, I don't know, that you're king. Well, I guess, you know,
I would call them more like Navy SEALs than Secret Service.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They're the ones that you send out, you know, to go do SEAL shit.
Yeah.
Like capture Baron Zemo.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't talk about him at all this episode. He was great too.
He didn't do much.
But he was singing Ba Ba Blah Sheet with the Turkish Delights.
Oh my gosh,
and then he snuck out.
That's about as much as we had of him this episode. I'm excited for more Zemo. I'm ready for him to do something really evil. I'm like, what is he plotting? He's plotting something. We know that he has other strings he's pulling right now.
Did you ever read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when you were a kid?
Of course I did.
That's the White Witch gives Turkish Delights as well.
Yeah, Turkish Delights.
It was like the same scene, kind of. I don't know if that was intentional, but
could be. I think it's just a European thing. I had Turkish Delights. They were yummy.
Good. I'm glad. Can you share with the rest of the class?
Okay, and then I will. Last question. What would you rate this episode out of 5?
You go first.
It's hard to like give them varying scores because
I know.
the series is so consistent, and I really, really, really like the character beats in this episode. I'm honestly anywhere. I think I'm like a 4.25.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't know. I feel like the episodes I liked better were really great. But this is so consistent. So literally, it's like I can't give it any lower than a 4.
No way.
I don't think it's a 4. But I don't think it was an absolute 5 either. Because they're
4.5.
I gave last week's a 4.5, and I think I like last week's more than this one. I don't know.
I like last week's more than this one, and I gave it a 5. So I'm willing myself to drop. It's not a 4. This episode. I'm sorry,
it's not a 4,
this episode. Yeah. This series is great.
Yeah,
they've been super consistent. There's no dips. It's been great.
Yeah, and it's hard to rate each episode too because it's like, okay, this scene of the movie, you know,
right?
Let me rate this scene. Let me rate this comic issue in an arc. And so, I don't know. I just 4.25. That's
cool.
Like my score.
Yeah.
What's yours?
4.5.
4.5 still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Or you had 5 last week and it wasn't last.
I really liked last week's episode, but it's outstanding.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, this was so much heavier than what they've done the entire time because of the deaths and John Walker brutalizing that guy and it ending in the shield dripping blood.
Oh yeah, the red blood stain on the shield was perfect. It was very reminiscent of like in Star Wars when Finn had the red like fingerprint stain wiping his face.
Yeah.
On the mask, yeah.
Stormtrooper mask, yeah.
Anyways, I'll keep it in Marvel. So thank you so much, Jesse, for being back.
You keep jumping around, bro. Like Star Wars,
multiverse.
DC. Man, let's go.
Thanks, Jesse, for coming on this episode. We'll see you next week. And then actually, we're not going to be... So for the viewers, we are going to be releasing one more next Tuesday. One more Falcon Winter Soldier episode 5, and then the episode after that is going to be just the Cameron Reads Comics episode. It's going to be a series review.
See, this is news to me.
So
Okay, I'm glad that we're on board. I don't know. You
Well, we
told me
did
that
that for one.
probably.
Yeah,
Whatever.
well, it's like it's
so
not
we'll
crazy.
do episode 5, and then episode 6 will be wrapped into our
The entire
review.
Yep, exactly.
Yay.
Alrighty, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.